Siya ay isang reyna at isang kilalang modelo. Maganda, tanyag, kinababaliwan at kinagigiliwan. Siya ay isang reyna na iniwan ang lahat ng ito nang pinili niyang ikasal, manirahan sa ibang bayan at doon bumuo ng panibagong pangarap at pamilya. Siya ay isang reyna na nagising sa katotohanan na hindi lahat ng reyna ay may happily ever after kasama ang kanyang hari. May bagong buhay at pag-asa pa kayang naghihintay sa isang reynang tumalikod sa kanyang korona?
Kakaiba ka, kakaiba ka, sa lahat ng kanyang nilalang. Kakaiba siya, kakaiba siya, walang katulad ng Panginoon. Kahit ang ordinaryo may kakaibang kwento. Ano ang meron sila? Ano ang meron sila? Kakaiba ka, kakaiba ka, kakaiba ko. Na ibang buhay dahil kakaiba ka, kakaiba ka. Kakaiba ka.
Isang napakagandang hapon sa inyong lahat and welcome to another kakaibang kwento dito sa Kakaiba Ka. Ang sabi nila, masaya at sobrang glamorous ang buhay ng isang beauty queen. Magagandang damit, magagarang gamit, masasayang pagtitipon at puro mayaman at kilalang tao ang nakakahalubilo. Ang sabi nila, kung isa kang prinsesa o reyna sa paningin ng mundo, puro sarap at saya ang kwento ng iyong buhay. Pero sa hapon na ito, isang beauty queen at modelo ang ating makakasama para ikwento ang kanyang buhay. Halika at sama-sama nating pakinggan ang kakaibang kwento ni Sabrina Artadi. Hi Sabrina! Welcome to Kakaiba Ka!
Hi! Dapat pala nag-tiara ako.
Oo nga, para talagang beauty queen.
Ay.
So Sabrina, we're going to talk about your life, no? Your life was such a roller coaster of events and emotions, diba? You came from humble beginnings and then found yourself on top of the world, living the fast life, and then leaving all of it behind to start a life of uncertainty with two young children back in Manila. So, what did you experience once you found yourself back home?
As soon as I landed in the Philippines, reality hit me. There's no funds. I've got 2 children that I have to support, right? I'm vulnerable as a separated woman. Do you know what's out there, diba? And bills to pay, cases to face. Then you have children who depend on you as a mother. So you have to be strong for them. As a mother, it's not me anymore. It's my kids. It's the children. What am I going to feed them? Failure is not an option. When I get home, I have to make sure that they've got food on the table,
What other type of hunger did you experience pa?
A sense of being alone, of course, the loneliness, that there was no one I could lean on. And all that really brought me to God. I really escaped to Adoration Chapel. I really escaped, and of course my mass, daily mass, that became my sanity.
What were your practical realizations?
What I have is my 2 children, and I'm it. My yaya and I are it. And where can we have that sense of normalcy? I realized it's through food, right? Through food. So even if I wasn't wealthy, I had budgets and all that, we were able to really make food a huge part of the home, so that when they would come home from school, I would be cooking, sauteing something, and they would come in and I would give them aprons and little cutting boards to help out. And then they start to open up and say, oh, what's cooking? What's that smell? Mommy, what are you doing? And so that became a way for me also to feel like things are going to be okay,
How powerful is food for you?
Initially, I just thought it's food. It's something we need to eat, right? Then later on, I saw the value of family bonding. Food that nurtures is something that heals the body as it also heals the mind. So what you need to remember is that when we feed our children, feed them vegetables, even at a very young age, smuggle it in there, find ways for them to enjoy these leafy greens. And you are teaching them how to continue that ritual future. You are nurturing them to avoid diabetes, heart failure, obesity, all these other things, right?
Sabrina, there has always been a desire for you to focus on the food for the body and the soul. How did it become your personal advocacy? Bakit yon?
Well, after my first 2 years, Sabrina's Kitchen, we were doing well. God had answered my prayers. I mean, I came from nowhere. I wasn't really artistahin or anything like that. And, the people loved it. And we were doing dinners for the Meralco and the PLDTs and for all the socialites. And I thought to myself, okay, God, I'm grateful, but I'm feeding the rich.
Mm-hmm.
I want to feed the poor. Help me. Where do I start? So I prayed about that, and I saw the message. Mother Teresa said, if you can't feed all, feed one. This is such an important message where people think that if you're not doing things in volume, it's walang kwenta. But we have to remember that one life is one life, right? If you look at it, if it's me, my life matters. My child's life matters to me. So it's not the volume, right? It's the fact that you did something and you got out there and you created. So my prayer in the balcony that day was, show me. I want to feed the poor. Help me use the show and the sponsors to bring it to a social level. And I went to Mass, and in church, there was a priest, a Jamaican priest, who I have been watching in EWTN, which is a Catholic channel. Father Ho Lang was on the podium. He gave a whole story, but what convicted me was he pointed a finger to all of us and he said, you Alabang prince and princesses, you cannot sit in your comfort zone. You must come out to the poor. You must come out and feed the slums. So I went to meet Father Ho Lang, went to the missionaries order here. He has 3, one in Bicol, one in Cebu, and one in San Andres Bukid, Manila. That was the beginning. I met him and I went there, and one day at a time.
How has your advocacy evolved during the years?
I had no idea that it would get to where it is today. First, I would go to the missionaries of the poor. Then we would feed maybe 50 to 100 children. We have about 400. It's Sunday and Monday. We have about 400, but we've evolved. So on Mondays, I do the missionaries of the poor, which has evolved to even scholarships, right? And then, of course, support to the missionaries of the poor, where people send in help from all over the country. And then also, on Sundays, we feed the homeless.
Balita ko pati mga karinderya owners, tinuruan mong magluto ng healthy meals. Can you share about that too?
With the carinderias, we would go in and we would do classes. So my sponsors, we had McCormick Group, we had La Española, we would go in and do classes. If they can learn how to do healthy, na budget pa sila na social, why not? So I taught them now. We created an iced tea, the milk tea. Di ba, napaka-famous ng milk tea?
Yeah.
So we created a malunggay milk tea with honey. Absolutely delicious. And then we also created like a dalgona coffee. The same
Yes,
thing.
nauso yan ng pandemic, di ba?
Yes. So ginawa natin, hinhealthy na spaghetti, tapos turon na may malunggay, mga ganun.
Balita ko rin, na busy ka mag-FB Live. You did that FB Live to teach healthy cooking. And yung mga tao daw, ginaya nila yung soup kitchen. Ano ba yon? Paano ba nangyari yon?
The idea of my soup kitchen is not ako lang. It's everyone hopefully ma-multiply, ma-replicate. Kaya I made it very simple and I put it into one giant rice cooker para kayang gayahin. Always when I create dishes, I try to make it very, very easy to replicate. So easy. No, na mas magaling pa siguro yung gawa nyo kaysa sa gawa ko. When we started to do that, people would tell me na I did it kasi under the bridge, nandyan maraming na mga poor, ganon. So, my children, my family, we went, we did it, and we promised to. Meron pang isang general with his family.
We've heard the beautiful side of your story, but you know naman, Sabrina, I'm sure that in anything we start, there will always be challenges and difficulties. So on your end, what were the difficulties you encountered and how did you overcome it?
I think that many of the people, especially in the monastery and on the streets, see one time and wala na, they never see them again. And I know that I have guests come, I have a congressman, I have beauty queens, artista. They'll come one time, tapos wala na. Selfie, tapos wala na. So, they learn to deal with that. They're very practical. They learn to deal with their just take what they can get. But walang emotional attachment at saka walang trust. But it's been constant. The good Lord has helped me do this for now 14, 15 years. And that constancy has built that trust, right? That continuity. You know, when I first started, they thought I was ATM machine. It's all penge. And I had to explain to them, hindi ako ATM machine. Nandito ako, we will tell stories, maglalaro tayo, at magpapakain ako. Okay? Pero hindi ako bibigay ng pera. I would explain that. And once they realized that, the children that would come in, the parents that would come in, the homeless, that they're really there for the company, my company, right? And for the nutrition that we could give them, and the exchange of stories. The relationship factor and the trust factor was two-way. Kasi personal relationship, you have to trust. Hindi pwede yung, wag yung Facebook ko. I better not show them kasi they'll take advantage. You have to trust. You have to trust.
And it's good to know na yung mga dati mong struggles, paunti-unti din over the years, na-solve din siya, and now you're able to really build good relationships with the people that you help, that you feed. Now, going back to Sabrina's kitchen, what were your realizations and how has Sabrina's kitchen transformed you?
Less self, more others. Okay, that was a huge aha moment. I came from depression and self-pity. I came from that place. And then all of a sudden, when I stopped focusing on me and I started focusing on others, nawala konti-konti. And the answer to true happiness, to true joy, is when you start to not look within, but look out, look at others. And then you are really full. So yung sense of contentment, yung peace, yung closeness to the Lord, that grace, it's there. And I believe it's a big message that it's what God wants for us. It's our purpose. Another aha moment is being positive, being grateful. It is really up to us to choose to see the day. This is the day the Lord has made, I will rejoice and be glad in it. Or to see the day as a gloom and doom day. Choose to rejoice in the day. Choose to rejoice in the day. And then, the sun will rise for you.
How do you see the poor that you serve and what did you discover about them?
Initially, it was an effort. Initially, I asked God help me, deal with it. But today they're my friends. Today I look forward to bonding with them and exchanging stories. And I tell you, I'm fed because I have a comfortable home by God's grace. I'm not complaining. I'm so grateful for all of it. But when I am with them, I see them happy. I see them excited and joyful. I see them planning and dreaming, and talagang I get so much food from that. When we are in a world of complaining and trouble and war and so many disgruntled people, ang daming masungit dyan. And then there you are with the homeless and they've got these big smiles and these children, and I really get fed. I really realize wala akong, I have no right to complain to God if I have challenging situation. I have no right. Wala akong karapatan kasi look at these beautiful people in front of me. They are so happy. And so there are days when I'm down, when I'm a little bit heavy, as I'm driving to my soup kitchen or as I'm driving to the homeless. But never do I leave there sad. Never do I leave there sad. I always leave there full of energy, full of life, experiencing real miracles before me. So for me, if there is a place in the planet where Jesus comes and unites with man, it's among our poor, it's among our homeless. I really see him there.
You mentioned about, di ba ikaw nga yung nagbibigay ng feeding program for them. Pero as you were feeding them, you were the one being fed instead. Bakit? Bakit ganun yung realization mo?
Seeing them, their expressions, their reactions, their joy. I'll give you an example. Tell me kung hindi ka mabubusog. So a young girl looks up to me and she says, Ate Sab, mayaman ka ba o sakto lang? And I looked at her and I said, sakto lang with Jesus. She gave me this smile and she hugged me. She was down to my hips. She hugged me like that. And wala na. What do you say to that? Diba? Just beautiful. My heart, my soul. How many places in the world can you experience God's grace? I'll ask you. Diba? Every day I'm there, there's some miracle going on.
Busog with God's grace through the joy that you see from people that you feed. Talaga namang kakaiba yung ginagawa mo, and I'm sure that you were able to inspire our viewers to do the same. To feed the needy and be fed with their love. How can they help? Sabrina, kung sakaling may mga viewers tayo na gusto rin tumulong, where can they volunteer? And please take this opportunity to invite our viewers to your projects.
So we have Instagram. We have Sabrina's Kitchen on Instagram. And there I primarily share our healthy dishes. So moms, dads, anyone challenged with health, or those of you who want to really improve your health, come on Sabrina's Kitchen Instagram. It's Sabrina's_kitchen. And there you'll find a lot of tips, a lot of reels and stories on easy dishes. Okay? Promise you can afford it, and promise kayang-kaya nyo kasi very simple, mga rice cooker dishes. I also share my advocacies there, so you'll see that. We also have Sabrina's Kitchen on Facebook, right? It's also there. And then I have my personal page, Sabrina Artadi. And there, I really do mostly my advocacy. It's really focused on that, and it's focused on spiritual, physical, and nutrition. It's also on that page, Sabrina Artadi. You can also PM me via Sabrina Artadi Facebook page if you want to come on a Sunday. We're with the homeless, and on a Monday, we're at the Missionaries of the Poor with our children. So there are many other ways that you can volunteer and you can help. And I have joined forces with friends who have those advocacies. So if you go on my page, you can also ask me how to link to these guys. So for tree planting and reforestation and bakawan planting up in La Union, you can also join us there. So there's a lot we can do. There's a lot our youth can do. plenty things we can do for help.
Sa atin pong mga tagapanood at tagapakinig na gustong mag-join sa mga advocacy ng ating beauty queen guest na Sabrina Artadi, please follow her on Instagram. That's Sabrina's_kitchen. Yeah, where she shares healthy, easy dishes. And then, meron din po siyang Facebook page, Sabrina's Kitchen. Tapos, kung gusto niyo pong mag-message sa kanya at mag-join sa kanyang mga advocacy, you can follow and like her personal page, Sabrina Artadi. So doon makikita po natin ang kanyang mga spiritual, physical, and nutritional advocacies. Then, ang iyo pong ang kanyang activities no ay Sunday, feeding for the homeless, and then Mondays, feeding sa missionaries of the poor. Tama?
Yes.
Yan, ayan, talagang hindi kayo mawawala ng activities dahil napaka-active ni Sabrina Artadi sa kanya pong mga advokasya na makatulong sa ibang mga tao. Ayan, so tatandaan nyo, less self, more others. Thank you so much, Sabrina, for sharing your very inspiring story. Tunay na bagay ka dito dahil talaga namang kakaiba ka.
Thank you. I think we're all different and unique, and God bless us all and help us to fruition His perfect will for each and every one of us. In Jesus' name.
In life, when we desire to bless others with what we have, we are oftentimes blessed in return. Sabrina knows how it is to be hungry in different ways. She mentioned physical hunger, spiritual hunger, and when she experienced how it is to be filled with God's generosity and mercy, she immediately responded by paying it forward by feeding the needy with food for the body and hope for the soul. Proverbs chapter 28 verse 27 says that he who gives to the poor will never want. Sabrina is a living testament to this. She gives to the needy and feeds the poor, and so her life and innermost being is never in want. Maraming salamat po for joining us this afternoon. May we all be inspired to share the best part of ourselves with others. Ako po si Sweden Velado Ramirez. Samahan niyo po ulit kami sa isa pang kakaibang kwento dito lang sa Kakaiba Ka.
Kakaiba ka. Kakaiba ka. Kakaiba ko. Kakaiba ka.
Maraming salamat sa pagsama niyo sa amin ngayon sa isa na namang kakaibang kwentuhan. To get notifications and updates about our upcoming episodes here at Kakaiba Ka, please like, share, and subscribe to our FB page and YouTube channel. Kung nais niyo naman ng mas marami pang kakaibang kwento at aral, we invite you to watch Open Door Sunday, isang inspirational program tuwing first Sunday of the month. Pwede kayong manood o makinig sa Open Door online or pwede niyo rin siyang ma-experience ng live. For more details, visit Open Door FB page. Magkita-kita po tayo muli sa susunod na kwentuhan dito sa Kakaiba Ka.
Kakaiba ka. Kakaiba ka.